This is my instructional video. First up, I'll share my SMART goal. Specific: I want to increase flexibility in my upper body and improve my sleep quality, joint health, and lower my stress levels. Measurable: I will measure and record my progress with the flexibility test. Achievable and realistic: since I'll perform at every PHE class, it is achievable and realistic. Time-oriented: it will take me 5 weeks to achieve this goal. Next up, the FITT principles. Frequency: at least 3 days per week, stretching all the major muscles and joints. Intensity: stretch to slight muscle discomfort but not to pain. Time: each stretch should be at least 20 seconds for multiple reps. Type: there should be static stretches to help improve flexibility. The reps, sets, and intervals will be written in the top right corner of the screen. I have a 3-minute warm-up, and then a 14-minute for my main poses, and then a 3-minute cool-down. First up is the prayer pose. The trapezius and latissimus dorsi will be used, and the flexibility is the main component of fitness. Stand up straight, keep your back straight, and clasp your hands together to perform this pose. This pose is called the upward salute. It stretches the deltoids and the trapezius, and its main component is flexibility. Just look up into the sky and stretch your arms as far as you can. This pose is called the chair pose, and it stretches the latissimus dorsi, trapezius, and deltoids. The main fitness components are flexibility and balance. Make sure to sit down, look downwards, and pretend your arm and back are going in opposite ways. This pose is called the standing forward bend. It stretches out mainly the hamstrings, trapezius, deltoids, and gluteals. Reach to the bottom and straighten your knees to get maximum stretching in your hamstrings. This pose is called the low lunge, and it stretches mainly the hamstrings, quadriceps, gluteals, trapezius, and has flexibility and balance for its main fitness components. Think of a normal lunge and go down with your right leg. Try to lean forward to get maximum stretching in your hamstrings. The next pose is the plank, and it works the abdominals, deltoids, gluteals, and has flexibility and coordination as its main fitness components. Just step your right leg back for the plank. The next pose is called the four-limbed staff. It uses the trapezius, gastrocnemius, gluteals, and has flexibility and balance as its fitness components. Imagine going into a push-up position but stop midway. Next up is the upward facing dog. It works the abdominals, deltoids, latissimus dorsi, and quadriceps. Its fitness component is flexibility. Imagine pushing up from your arms and fully extending it, and try to look up into the sky. Next, go into the four-limbed staff position again and push up yourself into a plank. And then go into a low lunge again, and now go into a pose called Warrior 1. Which works your quadriceps, gluteals, abdominals, and has flexibility and balance as its fitness components. Imagine being in a lunge but higher up. Make sure to open your shoulders and pull your back backwards. Next, go into a low lunge and switch your legs. Then go back into a plank and go down into a four-limbed staff and back up to an upward facing dog. If you forgot how to perform these movements, refer to the previous instructions in the video. Now go back into a four-limbed staff position and push yourself up into a plank position into a low lunge, and then back up to Warrior 1. The next pose is the pyramid pose. It targets the hamstrings, trapezius, triceps, and gastrocnemius, and has flexibility as its fitness component. Next, take a big leap and go into the standing forward bend, and now into the tabletop pose. This pose targets the latissimus dorsi, gluteals, and hamstrings, and has flexibility as its fitness component. Lastly, go into an upward salute, hold for a few seconds, and go back to the prayer pose. Now it's time for the targeted poses. This exercise is called the downward dog, and it exercises the hamstrings, gastrocnemius, latissimus dorsi, deltoids, and triceps, and has flexibility and balance as its fitness components. Make sure you roll down to the ground, straighten your knees, and send your hamstrings back for a good stretch. The next pose is the half dog shoulder stretch. It exercises the deltoids, trapezius, and latissimus dorsi. It also has flexibility as its main fitness component. Just bend your knees and send your arms as far away from your body as possible so you can get the maximum stretching in your shoulders and back. The next pose is the rabbit pose. It exercises the latissimus dorsi, trapezius, deltoids, and abdominals, and has flexibility and balance as its fitness components. Just bring your hands together and bring them near your head, and your ears should be next to your elbows. Pretend like you're looking at your belly button to stretch out your back as much as possible. The next pose is the child pose. It exercises the latissimus dorsi, trapezius, deltoids, abdominals, and has flexibility and balance as its main fitness components. From the rabbit pose, just extend your arms, reach out, and bring your gluteals down to your feet. The next pose is the heron pose. It exercises the latissimus dorsi, abdominals, gluteals, and hamstrings, and has flexibility, coordination, and balance as its fitness components. Grab one of your legs and pull them up close to your face as possible and stretch until discomfort but not to pain. Stretch the other leg as well and stretch it for 30 seconds per side. This pose is called the head to knee pose. It exercises the latissimus dorsi, hamstrings, trapezius, quadriceps, and has flexibility as its fitness component. Put down the leg that you used to do the heron pose and go all the way down. Go as far as you can, but not to pain. Do 30 seconds per side for this one as well. The next pose is called the pyramid pose. It exercises the gluteals, hamstrings, quadriceps, abdominals, and has flexibility and balance as its fitness components. Stand up and put one of your feet in front of you and stretch it far back as possible and bring your back backwards so that you can feel the stretch in your hamstrings and back. You should do this one on both sides for 30 seconds as well. The next pose is called the cat pose. It exercises the latissimus dorsi, trapezius, hamstrings, abdominals, and has flexibility as its fitness component. You can do this one for 30 seconds. Push your back down and extend your arms. The next pose is the cow pose, and it exercises the latissimus dorsi, deltoids, trapezius, and has flexibility as its main fitness component. This time do the opposite as the cat pose. Now it's time for the cool down. The first pose in the cool down is called sitali or taco breath, and it exercises the abdominals, latissimus dorsi, and lungs. Roll your tongue up into a taco shape, and you might not be able to do this because it is considered genetic, and if you can't do it, just put out your tongue like when a dog would pant, and breathe in through your mouth and breathe out through your nose, and try to relax your position. Sit down in a way that is comfortable to inflate and deflate your lungs. The next pose in the cool down is called ujjayi or victorious breath. It also exercises the same muscles. This time you'll breathe in through your nose and exhale entirely through your mouth. Both of these poses should be done for 1 minute 30 seconds each. This is the end of my instructional video.